Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Thursday. It is Inside the Game. We're live right now on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Roku. Jonathan Turner alongside Nathan Wangler. Excited to have you along for the ride wherever you're watching, near and far. And here we are. It's Thursday. We're so close to the weekend. And I'm excited because I get to wear some new merch today. And if you are someone that appreciates good stuff, well, we have it at NSN. And right now, I am wearing my Soccer Nation hoodie. And what's really cool is the logo at NSN is like right there, right? And where soccer it lives, it breathes,
it
thrives, right? Oh, yeah. And you can go to
dies.
the nationalsoccernetwork.com and get yours right now and be like me. And I've got yours coming too down the pipeline here, Mr. Wangler. But yeah, it's Thursday. And hey, we've already got Jimmy and Peter in the comments section already coming in strong. Jimmy's beating Peter, though, every day. Jimmy is beating Peter so far. It feels like every morning now. So
Top of the morning,
we got Michael Lathrop in as well.
Michael.
Good morning to
and
all
then they say good morning to all of each other. So we have like 6 comments within the first 5 seconds. So it's not bad.
People are so nice. Hey, I wanted to first off with this. Last night I tried to go to bed between like 10 and 11. Every night I typically get up between 5:30 and 6 every morning. And today was no different in that regard. But last night, just as I was getting ready to go to bed, I saw this news come across my phone, and I don't tend to get a lot of the news stuff anymore on my phone. Many years ago, I wanted to get all these notifications, right? Oh my God, well, this is what's happening in the world. And I just kind of wanted to steer clear of it because it would oftentimes get, your blood, rising and boiling. And I don't want anything to do with that. But last night somehow I got a message, and that this emergency situation happening in Washington D.C., a regional airliner colliding with a military helicopter over the Potomac. First and foremost, obviously, our hearts go out to anybody affected or impacted, by that. It just sounds terrible, and we're not ones that are going to typically talk about like these kind of things, but I do feel like it's very interesting to me in today's world where with all the technology that we have, that we don't know what drones are flying at any given time, or at least we've perceived we don't know what they are, and then ultimately we don't know that a helicopter and a plane are on a path towards collision. That just to me seems, And the first thing that we talked about this too before, there's this thing that wants to go on. We want to start blaming people, right? And I this goes along with even like on the soccer side of things. We want to blame a referee for a loss, right? We want to go blame the ref. Oh my God, the ref called that penalty shot, right? That referee, took that goal away, right? We want to always blame something or someone for something for an occurrence, right? That's what's wrong.
Yeah.
With us.
Well, the tough thing is that, yeah. Well, in situations like this too, is you got to rely on investigations, right? So that's the part where it's everybody immediately wants to jump to conclusions, first day, second day afterwards. Honestly, I think people just get a kick out of it. I think that's why certain things like conspiracies and all that other, the fact that all of that is so popular, I just think people have just too much time to burn sometimes. So they want to look for the first person to blame. But anytime you talk about, especially in an industry like that, in a crash, like you're talking about investigation, you're talking about a lot of time figuring out exactly what went into that and what happened there. But yeah, I mean, there's so much stuff flying around in the air right now with drones and everything. It's it's kind of the Wild West in terms of where the technology is and then where our understanding of it is. I think that is a huge gap between what they have access to and what we actually know is out there. And so it doesn't surprise me at all that there was some miscommunication that may have led to a situation like that, but doesn't make anybody feel much better about flying.
I just hate the fact that the first thing we want to do is figure out. I understand there's a why. I understand there's a need to investigate. Of course, everything should be investigated. And to be fair, in today's world, on a public level, everything is about grandstanding, anyways. It isn't even about, to be fair, to be uncovering the truth. Because if it was about uncovering the truth, we wouldn't have these massive hearings where people are yelling at each other all the time. It's about grandstanding. It's about who can yell louder, and ultimately, after you've yelled the loudest, then you might get more airtime, right? So I don't like anything about it. And to be fair, if you are the typical American, who just wants to go through life and you live in your world, which most of us do, I don't believe that most of us walk through our daily lives going, man, I really care about my neighbor. I'm not saying that you don't care about your neighbor. I'm just saying that you're thinking about your kids. You're thinking about your job. You're thinking about your personal life. And that until something comes into your environment that makes you think about it, you're not. And tell me if I'm wrong, people. I mean, if I am wrong, then tell me. But I don't believe that I am, because I live this life and I am not walking through it going, man, I really care about my next door neighbor right now while my child is home sick. Like, that's not how I think. You only think about those things until they become into your reality, right? Either by saying, oh, there's my neighbor. Hi, how are you doing? Right? There's an interaction there, right? Something happens in front of you that makes you go, oh, okay, yeah, I see. There are things that have to sometimes come into your environment that you otherwise would never think of. So my perspective on all of this is that, we don't all truly care as much as maybe it seems like we do, right? Because at the end of the day, if I have enough money for eggs and you don't, Nathan, do I have the same worry? And do I actually worry about the fact that you can't get your eggs because you don't have enough money? Like, are people, what I mean? Like, is that a thing? Like, if you can't fill up your gas tank, are you going, man, I really hope, I think John's got enough money to take care of his gas. So, are you thinking about me in that? No, you're not thinking about me in that regard. Unless you are, I don't know. But I'm putting this in perspective. I just feel like we make it sound like we care about these things, but we don't.
Well, perspective is good. Not that you have to spend all your emotional energy working or worrying about the people around you. I don't necessarily think that. Nor do I think you have to make up conspiracies or try to, one thing I will agree with you on is I do think people are more concerned about, and this is the reason why you see, even with the show that we have, you mentioned bringing in live callers. I think it would be okay with our show because we kind of have a growing group of people who actually enjoy watching us. And if they don't watch our show. So that's fine. We're kind of in a good area right now. But like all the OG sports commentators, a lot of them got rid of calling because we've gotten into this era of people who are not concerned about actually being right, putting sound logic together in a way and packaging it in a way that's convincing and actually portraying that. People are more concerned about just sounding right. That's what people want to do now. It's not about actually being right. It's about how loud can I be? How expressive can I be? What's all the ridiculous stuff I can say in order to make myself sound correct, right? So it's a lot of ad hominem in whatever sort of conversation goes on or debate goes on. So I will agree with you on that. But in terms of worrying about other people, I don't know. I'm concerned about the people in my community, and not in the way of like every day I'm worrying about them. I'm focused on me. But I think if everybody else around me,
conscious thing. I think subconsciously as human beings, we do care about people around us. Right. I'm saying, are you
like to obsess about it though? Yeah,
well, that's what I'm saying. You're but right. I feel like on some level, most people do not obsess or make conscious decisions about thinking about their neighbor or the people in their community until they're driving down the road and they see a homeless person, right? They see that, then there's a moment there. Oh yeah, we have to do something about that, right? Or you see, you run into somebody at the store and you realize that their family's dealing with a very personal struggle right now, and you're aware of that struggle. Like, but you're not necessarily going through your day going, oh, I wonder how so-and-so is thinking until there's a thing. Maybe you see a Facebook post but we're not going through our day just consciously thinking about people around us who don't impact our lives on a daily basis. And that was my perspective. And I don't want to make it sound like I don't care about people, because I very much do.
No, you're good. No, I get what you're saying. And there's people that, again, like kind of like the whole parent thing I was saying yesterday, like living vicariously through someone else or trying to be a bug on the wall in certain situations. I think it's just some people are just either they're insecure or they just don't like their own life very much. So it makes it easier when you have social media to be able to obsess about other people and other things. And honestly, I think we come from good situations. You're a father, you have kids, you have a wife, you're in a pretty solid setup. I mean, your family members actually work for the company that you run. So I think that's a pretty solid group and support network that you got over there. I got a pretty solid support network here. I mean, just Grand Rapids in general is these are my peeps. And so I wouldn't say local celebrity. I mean, I was on a radio show yesterday, not to brag, but but I gotta, I know, right? Freaking crazy.
But
I got a good support. So I got a great support network here, but some people, I guess, just don't, either they don't like themselves or they don't like their family. So they're like, I'm going to live vicariously and obsess about this, that, or the other thing. I mean, it's like, why is, like a show like Keeping Up with the Kardashians? Why was that ever a thing? Well, people, again, they want to like put themselves in a celebrity's shoes because they don't like their own shoes. So that's the power of social media and modern TV.
Well, that is true. Well, what are we talking about here today? Today is Throwback Thursday. I feel
like
every single day, we should definitely look at doing different themes. And today is a day that we will look back at the history of the National Soccer Network. It's only been a few months, so we'll have to go further back than a few months. And so we're going to talk about this whole thing, how it started. And we've kind of gone through it, but I feel like today is one of those days where I'm not just going to tell you how it started. We're going to show you how it started. You're like, well, how did it start, John? That's a great question, Nathan. I'm glad you asked it. But we're going to get into that this morning. But first and foremost, first time stopping by, hit the subscribe button on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook, on Twitter, on X, whatever you want to call it. Roku. Head to Roku, nationalsoccernetwork.tv. You can click us and rate us on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify. Please do. If you really want to support what we're doing, share this, right? Share what we're doing, right? Because even if you don't like us two knuckleheads, which is fine, that's your prerogative.
If you don't like
we have
us,
we have a bunch more knuckleheads coming down the pipeline. So don't worry, there'll be more knuckleheads coming in down the road that will be equally or not equally is what's the word?
They'll be equally as insufferable as we are. Don't worry about it. That's how we roll.
But it is exactly how we roll. But it is about 9:13 here in the morning on this Thursday morning. Tonight, back out at Oakland University men's game. Doug Gottlieb coming into town. Doug Gottlieb, who's currently winless in his Horizon League season debut. So we're going to be at the OU Credit Union Arena tonight, covering that basketball game. Greg,
make sure that you mention he lost to Michigan Tech.
We will. The team that he said he was going to beat. But Greg Kampe was suspended earlier this week for an occurrence that happened on the court after the basketball game against Robert Morris on Saturday, where the game coming down to the last couple of moments, referee, they made a bad call. And the reason why I'm saying this is because the league, in its announcement about Greg Kampe, acknowledged that while what he did was wrong, that the referee in question is no longer working in the league because of the call and how bad it was. So, I guess two wrongs don't make a right. But yeah, so that is what happened here with Greg Kampe. So he will not be on the sidelines tonight for that game. He will, in fact, be at home, I would imagine, Sun Level. So, but anyways, with that being said, let's dive into this, man. First game was back in May of 2021. 2021. It's hard to believe. It was It was a cool night. It was a cool night back in May of 2021. I know this because it was windy. It was windy that day. This is the footage. Man, it was yeah. I mean, with a lot of
I
zoom.
think you got more sky than you got actual game. But the sky looks cool.
I was actually using the webcam from my computer to film this, so we actually turning the computer. I don't think we caught any goals, and if we did, again, like it's just so. Oh, yep, it's so good. So good. My name is down there at the bottom, and yeah, I mean, at some point, I was able to kind of get myself on screen, and like so up there I am. Whew, that's a good looking man right there.
And so I talked about this. I talked about this off air, but I want to bring this back up on the podcast. You are not inside, and I saw this shot initially, and I'm like, he's not indoors. He's actually outside. Couple questions on that front. Number one, what was it like recording outside? Did you have any wind or anything to deal with? I've never seen a podcast set up outside, but that actually seems kind of cool for like a summer type thing, number one. And number two, were they sick of you talking all the time inside, and that's why you are, in fact, outside? Because I imagine you started rubbing people the wrong way, and they're like, get out. And you're like, well, I got a show to record, so I'm just going to go to the porch and record it there instead.
Yeah, no. The porch they built this press box in a way that it overlooks Oakland's turf soccer field.
Oh, so you were at Oakland then for this? Yep. Oh, so that's where you're doing the show. Okay.
Yeah.
So that was kind of like your home office then for a little bit. That press box at Oakland.
Yeah, I think we did 30 some games there. In total over those couple years. I mean, we had commercials in there and everything, and then I was able to. I'm actually using my Beats like noise canceling headphones, and with my Shure SM7B microphone, which an expensive mic. But yeah, I mean, we were able to put some comments in. I think I was able to do that throughout the game. So this was an inter squad game. It came together pretty quickly, and that was game number one. And
did
really,
you play the audio from the beginning of the broadcast?
You want me to play the audio?
Yeah, I want you to play the audio because I think it's hilarious. I think it's very reminiscent of all of our first times doing a non-college game where there's a website and information on all the players and all that stuff. You were just kind of figuring it out.
When we go live or add new content. So here we go. Can you hear the sound?
Yeah, I gotcha.
Well, welcome back here to Rebel Soccer right here live on the Upper Road Network. My name is Jonathan Turner. I'll be hosting you this evening here as we do play-by-play here of Rebels FC Pink versus Rebels FC White. We've got the Rebels FC in Pink going off and kicking off here this evening. We'll get things underway here right now. All right. Oh, yeah, we got our first offsides here. Playing an offside position here on this fine 88 degrees here in Michigan right now. And things just getting underway here. I'm game one
great.
of my broadcasting names here. So I'm going to do the best I can to get this right. Off tempo over top here right now.
That's so great. That's the best part. I don't know who any of these people are, but I promise you I'm trying over here. I promise.
It's, as always, trying to do things here on the fly. All right.
Oh, that's so great. So I brought this up to JT before we got on the show. I'm like, we got to do like a broadcaster's film room segment, and maybe we can compare like old calls to the way we sound now. because that's crazy to me. That's night and day when you talk about just a 3 and some change year difference between then and now. And by the way, I can relate to that first part about the rosters and numbers and everything. I just love how brutal sometimes new people are. They're like, yeah, I don't know any of this stuff, so I'm going to try my best. And it's just, all right, cool. Here we go.
So
That's
awesome. So this was 1 week later. So we're talking a week later, not knowing. Crazy how like a week I was able to kind of go film some practice sessions and like and kind of some pump some hype, I guess, behind the game.
I like your B-roll too, and I'm gonna actually show off one of my videos that I used to do, kind of a segment I used to do way back when, and I think you'll be shocked to see me then, but it's good stuff. Yeah, you got the music behind it, good transitions. Did you use like Premiere Pro or you use like iMovie for this?
I'm not sure what I used, to be fair. I probably used iMovie. I can edit some video, and I've done it through Final Cut Pro. I've done a lot of things. This was all done through, through, I think, Final Cut or something like that. But so this is the opening now. So cool. Kind of, well, that's not good. Well, good afternoon here, and welcome here to Rebels FC pregame here, brought to you by the Board Network. My name is John Lantern. I'll be play-by-play today here as part of the Rebels FC.
Is that the shot of the
Club
field all the way off to the right?
Yep. Game time here at 7 p.m. It is the weather today is questionable, to say the least. We'll see how that plays in today's game. Today's matchup is part of the Michigan United Soccer League. The MUSL League was
again. This is literally a week later.
Like, so over 30 league. So everything I was able to do within that first, I realized what I was dealing with in game one. Now, how do I
use soccer coaches?
The League of Metro Detroit, the MSU started getting fan package. You can get
what I will say,
I think is awesome. You get 6 items.
What I will say,
like a hoodie, pants, t-shirts.
I can kind of pick this up
shorts,
from just
all the above. Right now, order now. Up and
like this video of you talk right here. And it's amazing to see, and this is the biggest part in terms of development. Like, it's the part that I feel like you see earliest on, and we talked about it like with Noah and some of our other talents, like the confidence in what you say and your ability to really put a period on your sentences now versus where you were then is kind of crazy, like that time you're just like, hey, everybody, welcome back in, blah, blah, blah. You just start talking. But now you're like, bam, welcome back. You are really, the confidence switch from then is kind of crazy. So I guess you do have to start from somewhere and just start talking. But that's what, I guess, a couple, how many hundreds of games that you've called over your time. I guess that'll do that for you over those stretch of years. But there's just you're not necessarily commanding a room in these original ones, but you do it now. So that's wild to me. Oh, look, you got the two looks. So you got you and the field. That's interesting.
I know, right? Wow. And that just, I feel like that is, what we've just looking at the beginning, right? And then, where we are today, it's crazy to me that's kind of how it all started. And I oftentimes, I don't think I actually consciously look at that where we started, right? It's hard for me to fathom that's actually where I was 3 years ago. And yeah, I mean, today, the difference makers, the difference between what we do now and then, it's night and day. Our last game, the last game that I did live, and to put things in perspective, I'm going to go look at one of our last games that I did live on our platform, where my voice is being used, and it's been a couple minutes on our platform, mainly because I've been giving a lot of people an opportunity to use their voice and to call games. I want to say, so right here, so this would have been Aquinas Concordia. I think I did them. If not, it would have been, nope. Where are we? I just want to find it.
You're good.
But it's
I'll
just go ahead.
No, just in the meantime, while you're finding that, I guess I had a couple of things to show off on my end too. It's crazy, and I can also, if we have time towards the end of the show, I can also pull up some of my old demos because I organize all that stuff on my YouTube, and I intentionally keep my old materials around because if anybody wants to go back and see, okay, how did he sound in 2019, 2018 versus how does he sound now? It is a lot different, and that's a good thing, as it should be. And so I've always been told that it's not a bad idea to keep those reels, those materials around, because it's just going to demonstrate how much better that you've gotten. Can you see this on your screen, by the way? I think I'm sharing my screen right now.
No, I'm gonna I did now actually have ours on there, but I can shoot yours in. Hang on here 1 second.
Okay, all right, but I'm just going to show you a little bit of my website. One thing I will say is that when you do this job, and I don't know if you can relate to this at all, JT, but when you do this job, the one thing you'll realize is that it's a very small world in the sports industry. Everybody's connected to everybody somehow, especially when you talk about a market like Michigan. Everybody has worked with everybody at some point. So you're going to meet a lot of interesting people as you go along in the world of sports broadcasting. And so this is just on my website, right? So I got a couple of different pictures here. I'm going to actually quiz you. So these are some of the people that I've met in my career. And this is just a snapshot of some of the individuals that I've gotten to meet and know. So this is kind of a throwback for me because this was like every step of the way I was meeting these people. So, and they've all obviously helped shape me into who I am. Who do you think the person in the middle top picture is, JT? See if you can go one for one.
That's Darren McCarty.
Darren McCarty. Got it. Bang. All right, rapid fire. Who's next to him? Who's in this one over here?
Oh, that's Brandon Inge.
Nice. 2 for 2.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
I shared a story on this guy. Who's this guy in the middle?
That's Roger Clemens.
Got it. 3 for 3. All right. Here's a crazy one right here. I'll see if you can get this one. You should know this one. There's a backstory to this one.
That's
Who's this
Joey
guy?
Chestnut, man.
Got it. Bang.
Boom.
Boom. You know what's funny? When I told him my name, he loved my last
throw
name.
my clip though real quick though, because there's another person in there. She's from The Office. That's Kate Flannery.
Yes. Very good. She came to, I believe we were in Fort Wayne. We were at the Tin Cap. So they had an office night that night, and they said that they could get us not VIP necessarily because she had to get ready to do like other game day stuff. But yeah, we got to meet her, and honestly, she reminded me of one of my aunts, like the way that she operated and her goofiness, and she actually loves the sport of baseball too. So that's the thing about sometimes when you get these celebrities, they'll show up and then they'll leave. You know what I mean? Typically, it's like before the game starts. If not, it's like the first, second inning. She actually stuck around for the entirety of the game. But yeah, Joey Chestnut. So he was in Lansing before he came to Midland, Great Lakes, which is where we are in this picture. I think he had, how many was it? He was in a black bean burger eating contest in Lansing. I believe it was not the night before or 2 nights before.
Say a black bean.
Black bean. Yes, that's Lansing's thing. That's like their signature thing is black bean burgers. He had 6 of them. And then he comes to Midland where they're doing a hot dog eating contest. And I forget how many he put down. I think it was like 25. I don't know how he does it. Like, I don't know how you physically put your body through something like that. But I remember telling him my last name, and he said I have one of the more entertaining last names he's ever heard. So he really got to enjoy saying Wangler. Just a few more, but I'll let you get to, if you were able to find it, your last call. But in the middle down here, this is Elena Olsen. So she played for USA Rugby, won the bronze medal, first ever medal for them. Have you ever held an Olympic medal? It is heavy. It is like heavy.
Yeah, I've got 3 of them, Nathan. I didn't even do this. I was an Olympic
really?
medal.
All right.
Yeah.
I don't know why you waited until now to tell me. But that was really cool. She's actually from Caledonia, so that was awesome. And then obviously over here is Dan Dickerson. That was kind of a full circle moment for me, obviously having grown up listening to him, summers and everything like that. So this is just kind of a look, and I would recommend to anybody who's building a website, like try to get moments like these up on your website because it kind of shows the shows the human side and shows the connections and all the different places you've been. And honestly, people.
I first things first, I did not send. I'll tell you right now, I did kick Nathan out of our studio a couple days ago, but I did not do it just now. I think that's important to say. Steve Besk, by the way, comes in 25 hot dogs or one very hot tortilla chip, and I would pick the hot dogs. To be fair, I know Steve would pick the tortilla chip any day of the week. So we actually have a video of that, of Steve doing that. I should find that video while I'm waiting for Nathan to make his way back into our system. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna find what the one chip challenge, I think, is what we had. Let's see here. See if it's on our website. I think that's an important thing for us to find, since Steve Besk is, he's watching us right now, and hopefully Nathan will be back with us in a second. Let's see here. Nope. I will find it here eventually. But yeah, I think what was MSN Weekly. I'm trying to figure out what that show is called, Steve. Maybe you could help me. Maybe it was what would we call that show we were doing, the podcast? Well, I'll go here, I'll find it. But still have not heard back from Nathan to see what's going on with this, as to why he's not in. So he's back in a moment. MSN Live, the morning overlap, that's what it was. Okay. With Steve and John, I'm trying to figure out where the chip challenge is. See if it's in here. And again, I apologize that Nathan lost him on the air, is what we did. And I think I got it. I think I found the video, MSN overlap. I think I found the video, and I'm going to share that one now on our screen. So here it is. And
was our next time going to be together here on air. So I've been doing
what
I meant, Steve. It's not what I meant. You know,
John.
I know. You know,
it's 10:10 in the morning.
Yeah, no, it's
this upcoming hottest thing that you have done.
So
it brings back a ton of pain to subscribe, Steve, because
and we had Todd Hugh here a few weeks.
I'm just glad I don't have much going on the rest of the day, because this is it.
Here it is.
So.
No, I would say probably you're probably right. This is in fact happening. What I want to do is this. I'm going to come over and walk over to you here first, and I'm going to walk to it right now, Steve. I unhooked, and let's. So, So, do you need any some moral support at all from me? Are you good? Do you want me to be next to you, or you want me to be off camera? Okay.
You.
All right. So,
rather you're nowhere near me, to be fair. Because when I look over at your face when my mouth is on fire, I may want to
punch me. Okay, that's fair.
Sure, you said it, not me.
All right. Yeah. So, Jay, go ahead and do me a favor. Hit that song "Cozy" right there on the far right, the very bottom. Far right, very bottom.
Should I get the chip open?
Yeah, there you go.
Now, I may be sitting in a place where I can't see the comments, but I believe that something's definitely going to happen.
Something where the comments bing bong. Right now, it's 75%. Steve, are in favor of you finishing in a minute or under.
Okay, no faith in the people. All right, well, I'm getting this open. Gonna.
This is great. I mean, we should probably spend a just going through stuff like this. This is great.
What to expect? Yeah, my mouth's going to be on fire. I'm well aware. Here is.
And the only reason I'm doing this is because Steve in the comments was like 25 hot dogs or one very hot tortilla.
You're going to have the timer ready.
That is Steve Besk.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
And there you go. So, I mean, I just
it will not be on the screen.
So why not go down memory road here? Why not? Throwback Thursday.
It was nice knowing you all. John,
it's fair.
Want the GoPro here? I should be.
Let me come over there to you. And,
the green screen in full effect there with
POV.
That's funny.
Why not? Right here.
This is the face before the chip. What's up, everybody? All right.
You got the timer, Jake, or no?
What timer?
Oh, God, right. I'll take care of the time.
All right,
What
here
timer?
we go.
Oh boy.
All right, it's in multiple pieces, so that's not a good start.
Yeah, you had to go.
Not crumbles, but small pieces. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, so 3 little pieces. I already kind of made a strategy that I was not going to nibble at it, as my good friend Steven Groller tried to predict. I'm going to take it all quickly, like a champ, and do this all at once. So it was nice knowing everybody. Here's to the one chip challenge.
Get it in there, man. Timer has started. Once you're done, and tell us how you feel.
This is the greatest thing I've ever seen, man.
Can you tell me, is there any on my mouth?
I don't
And
see
I
any.
like-
Yeah, I mean, that way you can wash your hands and get it off the gloves off. You're at 25 seconds.
All right.
So
No milk, no water, no nothing, no ice.
Yeah, I think you got to go for as
Ooh,
long as you
all right.
can without actually
Can I throw this
drinking
away,
anything,
or-
right? So
there's a garbage right there. Yeah, by all means.
So initial thought, it's on fire. I mean, my tongue is racing. There's still pieces of chip in my mouth. I'm trying to get that all out with my tongue. Is my tongue blue yet?
Oh yeah, your tongue
All
is
right.
definitely blue.
Cool. I'm gonna take these gloves off since I don't need those anymore. Wow. Woo.
Well, whoever picks Steve to be a minute and under, he's at a minute right now. So
I'm sweating.
I'm not laughing.
It's not good to like see the milk and the bread because like
You want to go
I
there?
really want to go there, but I've got a lot weighing on the line here with people at home who don't believe that I can do this.
Yes.
I feel like a mouth-breathing dragon right now. Hi, Mary. Woo.
A mouth breathing
our-
dragon.
Office workers here. Mary just coming in. She knows that I'm doing this right now. So I'd love to be able to sit down. Whew.
So I think it's important to
So
say
he's
that
talking it through. This is good.
we
Sound coming through there?
Yeah,
wrapped.
I mean,
so
John, I'm doing my best, buddy.
this is. I mean, he did great.
I mean,
I'm
I-
gonna go
hey,
another 6 minutes.
He's taking it like a champ. I'll
Doug
say
Steiner,
that.
terrible decision to do this.
I mean-
just like when he refs. Oh my God!
I
We're
had to
at,
eat a
we're at
habanero
6
pepper
minutes
once,
and
and
23
I was-
seconds. Steve
out
just
of
goes,
commission.
John, I'll Venmo you $10 to steal his chocolate milk and run away.
Who said that? Who said that?
Steve did. Growler.
I mean,
Oh, man.
he went
Wow.
for a bit, man. I mean, he again. It was impressive. And
Wow.
but
receiving and finishing.
I want to
from different
say, and I don't know. Again, obviously, it was well over a few minutes, but like first off, the reason we even did that is I was at a 7-Eleven before a game, and if you didn't know any of this, but when we were out on the road going to game, I was not only was I the president and founder of this company, I was also the snack guy, right? So my job would go to like 7-Elevens and Kroger's or whatever and bring a whole bunch of snacks to our games. So I was at a 7-Eleven before a game. We were actually going out to a Sterling Heights high school game. And I was in a 7-Eleven grabbing drinks, snacks, Sour Patch Kids, you name it. And I saw that the Pacquiao one chip challenge sitting there. I'm like, you know what? Let's get this. I'm not sure why. And then on the air, I was like, we should definitely do this one of these days when we get to X amount of subscribers. And Steve was like, if we get to 3,000 subscribers, I will do it. I was like, really? He like volunteered like that. And I'm like, okay. And so, and then I said, if we got to 5,000 that I wouldn't do it. But no, so he, when we hit 3,000, we actually hit it like right after Easter or Mother's Day, in 2023. And, yeah, he did it, man. Like kudos to him. He's like, I did like 12 plus minutes. It was great. It was one of the greatest things I've ever been a part of. But you know, completely different than what I was talking about showing you guys. I wanted to show you, you know, the other, like how far we've come video. This is the last video that I've done. Now we're gonna go back to you in a second here, Nathan, but this is like the last. So the last real game that I called, was, this one here, and so the difference in kind of even how I open up the broadcast, so I find it here. So can you hear it?
Yeah, I can hear it.
Cool. So it'll come in right. Here we go. So this is the difference in how I welcome people in.
Hello, everybody, and welcome into Grand Rapids Aquinas Soccer Field. It is do or die, win or go home. Aquinas, the number 6. Aquinas taking on Concordia, their first time ever making it into the second round of the NAIA tournament. I'm Jonathan Turner alongside Dan Stickrat. We're live out here in Grand Rapids on the campus of Aquinas, and we have a good matchup here today, Dan, between two teams who are very different in their makeup.
Well, Concordia is coming off a 2-0 national tournament.
I mean,
last 12 games, they are on fire.
We are definitely in Grand Rapids, me and Dan. But just wildly different, I mean, from what I did in game 1, right, to right now, right? And it's just watching that. We're gonna watch, I'm sure, some of yours here in a moment. It's just crazy to me, like how that looks and feels. I mean, the uncertainty, the unsurety of the moment for me back when I was in at Oakland, doing that for the Rebels in that first game, and then kind of like how everything kind of manifested over the last number of years. But
right,
it's just crazy to me that even from the production aspect, production alone. I mean, obviously we're sitting in front of a green screen, the field. We've got a clock countdown to kickoff. We're doing a pregame show. We all these different things that we've been doing. And at this point, again, just kind of. It's just crazy. And then even like the opening to like the game, right? When the game gets underway, just even that, like, so,
seniors
you'll hear
across the country who are playing their very last games. You do not want to think about your team's going to set up,
right?
And
So
let the game kind of play out. You do not want to start thinking about right now as we're seconds away from kickoff. Wow, this could be my last game. Those things will be the furthest from your mind as possible. Concentrate on the task at hand out on the pitch.
Moments away, and here we go. Officially underway here, the NAIA Women's Soccer Championships. Concordia is coming in and taking on number 6 Aquinas. Jonathan Turner alongside Dan Stickrat. You're watching it live on the National Soccer Network on Roku TV, as well as on YouTube on the Michigan Soccer Network. So thank you. If you're on YouTube, you can get involved in the poll.
Where
right
you
now,
can watch
votes have come in. 75% of you, I'd imagine all of you from Nebraska watching. And again, now it's sexy 76% are in favor of Concordia winning this game. A Cinderella story?
Sexy?
I guess we'll find out here, Dan, is Concordia in their blue kits. They're going left to right on your...
So they scored Aquinas scored a goal early into this game, and here it is.
Offensive targets.
Well, that's not it. I lied. But
of the game for high school. Of the pitch, Michigan over the left, or Kalamazoo area. If you were, they had 5-1 over SIU year from.
I swear it's coming.
You'll get your thoughts. One,
they close in when they do not have the ball.
Oh, look at this ball into the 18, shot low and in, and just like that, Maria Luisa Bill. That's 1-0 in favor of Aquinas.
And leading.
There's. And that's the one thing, like I over the years, Nathan, I've struggled with, especially in early going, was that moment. Right, that moment has been. It's so people think they go, well, it's so easy. No. It's not. It's not like a goal in soccer, right? First off. That ball coming through, as you can tell, me and Dan were having a conversation, right? So we have to break the conversation, right? And a lot of times we tend to break the conversation right towards the top of the 18 within that 30 yards. But just that ball slides through that traffic, right? To be on that back line. And then this girl's all alone, right? And so you have to identify the player, right? You have to acknowledge that a shot is taking place, and a lot of things can happen in that moment, right? The ball can go directly in the back, and that could be a save, it could be whatever. Then you get that, and then it's the after effect, right? So then you have to describe what took place, right? So you describe the moment for what it is, and then identify the player, and then continue, and then somehow try to find a way to allow it to kind of breathe a little bit, right? To allow
Yep.
it to breathe. And I am going to ask you. I think it's good that we're doing this now. We're inside the game. We're talking about soccer, right? Let's go back to this, and I want you to tell me if I gave this moment the right amount of opportunity to breathe, and I called it accordingly. So let's put it back in. And you at home as well, if you're watching right now on YouTube, Facebook, wherever you're watching, give us your thoughts on whether or not I, as the commentator, did a good enough job articulating the moment and then allowing it to breathe as well, because those things are important. And I say allowing it to breathe mean that at one point in time I acknowledged a goal happened and then I let it breathe. Now Dan might have come in too. I can't really concern myself with Dan so much as only in my role, but I want you to tell me if I was able to do this.
School your route put in towards good turn of the ball there.
This in Aquinas' last game, how quickly they close in when they do not have the ball.
Oh, look at this ball into the 18, shot low and in. And just like that, Maria Luisa Bill, that's 1-0 in favor of Aquinas.
And leading.
Here comes another look at this one as that goal comes here in the 6th minute. This is a great ball slotted into the 18 by Lichtensteiger, and that's put home by number 17, a build. And
Yeah. What I will say is I do think you let it breathe at the end. Good job on Dan stepping away, because it looked like he was going to say something. And then he peels back. Now, I don't know if you gave him the hand of justice, like, hey, just calm down for 5 seconds. You didn't? Okay, well, good on him for letting that, because I think that's where it's most important, is the number 2 also letting it breathe, because you got to know when not to talk as a number 2. And in big emotional moments like that, that's one of those spots. So I thought it was good. The only thing I would say is, like, immediately after the goal goes in, maybe give it a few seconds, just because it not that you were out of breath, but it kind of felt like maybe you were just like pushing it towards the end, because it was all one big line right after the goal went in until you were done. So that's the only thing that I would say, is maybe give it that split second afterwards. But no, you're good. And the thing that I like is your register. I think you're very advanced in one way, especially not having any specific schooling on this or actually going to school for it. But your pace, your register, I think, are very good. The other thing that I like is the slow build to the climax of the goal going in. That's the other really hard thing when you talk about voice inflection and learning how to use your voice properly, is building to that climax. Because a lot of times you'll hear a lot of young broadcasters, they're right here, right? They're at level 1. We're talking, and all of a sudden they're at level freaking 7, and the microphone's cracking and crackling and popping and all this other stuff. So your ability to really climb those levels to get to the climax and still not get out of your register is really good. Also, the other hard thing is, you'll see this with a lot of young broadcasters, they don't have that power to their voice quite yet. So it kind of sounds like they're throwing up when they go to make big calls. It's just, it's all coming out. It's almost like a note, you're hitting that high note, so you can tell you're pushing a little bit more for it, but as you should in a moment like that. The only thing that I think everybody should work on that I picked up out of this clip is just trying to speak in complete sentences. So, like, who fed the ball in, who found who for that moment. But I know it's tough because Dan's wrapping up his point and it all happens in 5 seconds. So that's just, again, if we're getting nitpicky, if we're picking out little things, that might be one little thing. But no, in terms of inflection and pitch, the only thing that I would say is maybe give it a split second after the actual goal goes in, to allow the reaction to happen.
No, I appreciate that, and obviously, I think that's the one thing too, that when we've addressed this, is that at least we've tried to address it in some of our social media, right? Because people have said, well, if you're not there, right? If you're not there, you can tell.
Right.
I wasn't there. And so
true. I didn't even think about that.
You know what I mean? Like, so I wasn't there, right? So
mm-hmm.
if you're watching this game or listening to this game right now, you're listening to it from what we were just doing, you would never know I wasn't there. And that's the
I
part.
didn't. Yeah, I thought you were.
So was not in Grand Rapids. I was in our studios in Shelby Township. This game took place at like 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday, right? So, and that again puts things in perspective. I mean, I think Aquinas ended up coming out of this game with a significant win. They won, I think it was either 4 or 5-0. But not that matters. But goal 4 in a 5-goal game, what does that look like, right? What does that call look like? Because is that the same call as opening goal in the first 5 minutes of the game. And I think it's important from the standpoint of telling a story as a play-by-play. I just skipped over it. It's going to happen here pretty quick. Same idea.
Cordia, they have not convinced of foul.
Saints, it's forced it in.
Very good job of nullifying a lot of those potential chances.
It's Bill now take a shot, slots it in, and Shank puts the 4th goal in for the Saints. It's 4-0.
So Shank had the second and third.
Not the same.
Yeah, right. And you don't want to be disingenuous. I mean, that's the other thing. And as a young commentator, I've learned that lesson too. Like I remember calling a JV high school football game once, and I think it was like a 3-score game, and they just put up another TD to make the lead like 27. And I'm over here calling it like it's the Super Bowl. And I remember Dan Hasty watching that back and being like, "Why are you so pumped about that?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't get a lot of football reps, and so I want to get excited about stuff." And he's like, "Well, you got to understand the situation. You know what I mean? If it's like that, don't be disingenuous about your call. It's not." And I'm even like that in hockey too. And I see some lopsided games in ACHA hockey. I mean, it's like 8-1, 9-1. By the time we get to goal number 8, I'm not screaming like Doc Emmerich once upon a time. I'm, not necessarily calling it different, but you don't want to be disingenuous. So that's an interesting thing, a little thing, but it's something that's worth mentioning, as you would say.
Yeah, I mean, our at least my perspective on all this is that enthusiasm, and I always someone always says, like, what is the definition of sales? Well, sales is the way I've always kind of portrayed this is confidence with enthusiasm, right? That to me is what defines sales, right? You have to be confident about the product or service that you're talking about selling, and then it needs enthusiasm in order to present that to a potential client or customer, right? Play-by-play is the same thing. I have to be confident enough in what I'm doing. And then with that confidence, I also have to have the enthusiasm in order to sell the confidence. So, yeah, and even if you don't have it, it's fine. You don't have to have the confidence, but if you have the enthusiasm, people will pick up on it. And I believe that with what we're doing at the National Soccer Network and what we're doing for soccer specifically, that I could on goal number 8 still be not disingenuous, but I could just fire uncork still on goal 8, and it still won't be, wouldn't be demeaning to another team. It's just because we're trying to highlight this sport, right? The viewer, the audience that we're trying to go after is one in which they're not used to having any of this anyway. So you give it to them all right now, and down the pipe, down the line, it'll be like, okay, that's too much. Bring it down, right? We're not calling games on ESPN for like the MLS, right? We're calling U13 games, U17, some college games, women's amateur games, right? Those games don't, the articulation and So
to your point, energy shouldn't be dependent on what level or what team or anything else like that. Like it should be time, situation, place, all of that other stuff. So you're right. Energy and enthusiasm is a big thing. And I think sometimes the younger broadcasters, again, they just get so locked into the ins and outs and the ABCs of broadcasting that they, again, forget to insert their own personality. And when you do that, that's what really brings the energy side alive, because you don't need a whole lot of energy to just be you. I mean, it comes naturally, right? So when you're trying to be someone else, it's tough to really lean into it. Random Mossy back again. I didn't know if he was ever going to come back. He's finally back.
I've seen him pop in from time to time. He likes he loves the amateur game, and so I've seen him on New Logic's their platform. New Logic is a video company like us that's based out of like the New York area. And I know that they do a pretty good job as far as bringing in coverage to a lot of the amateur sports and stuff in that area. So I know he spent some time there. I think I've seen him even with Atlanta Media Group as well. So he likes the amateur soccer space. So it's good.
Yeah. I will say, so I know we might go slightly over our time here, and I don't mean to drag us along if that's the case, but I just wanted to show one last thing since we're doing a throwback segment. When I was in college, I was struggling to get a lot of reps because I had two other guys that were with me. Despite being at a school with 2,000 people, I had two other guys who were also calling games. And this school already had a couple of people that were in positions calling games pretty much full time, right? For the basketball team, they had a guy for 30 years. Some of the other sports, they had people. So what I decided to do, and I'll say this for young broadcasters, this is another edition inside the game. If you're not getting reps or if you're not getting stuff here, sometimes you're just going to have to go out and do it yourself. And that was kind of the position that I was in there. And I realized that there was something that they didn't have, which at Cornerstone, which was kind of a sports recap show, which was something that, could kind of recap and really kind of put everything together of the week of sports that was. So I wasn't getting play-by-play reps. So I decided, okay, may as well do something with my time. May as well put something together that people in the sports realm at CU are going to understand and appreciate. And so this was all my doing. This is my camera work. This is my editing. That's the backdrop that we had at the school. That's my Blue Snowball microphone. This was all me. And I just kind of started putting these together. And that's what gave me enough traction to eventually do the play-by-play side and everything else like that. So I called this the Player Spotlight Show.
Welcome back to the Player Spotlight Show, Season 2, Episode 1. Now, Cornerstone Volleyball took on Aquinas Volleyball this past weekend. It was one of the biggest matchups of 2019 for a couple of reasons. Big sister versus little sister, head coaching and assistant coaching swap, and it's Aquinas.
So anyways, we don't have to watch the entire thing. That would be another interesting one to maybe share.
Unpause that. I was going to say, maybe unpause that one because you're right on the volleyball.
Hey now.
Maybe pause it someplace else. That's what I was trying to say.
But that's so I did that for, I think, a couple of years. I did season 1 and season 2, and it never really got big outside of Cornerstone. Like I would get 25 likes on it, and that would make me go crazy. And the athletes would be like, hey, bring me on next. But it generated enough interest around the school that once the guy in front of me decided to retire, their decision was, okay, you're next in line. Like, we need you to be the guy to fill in here. And the athletes love you on the call as is, but unfortunately, like a lot of positions, we already had a guy, so we can't just get rid of him and put you in there. But I kind of created that own luck by going out of my way to do this own show and to do it. So in broadcasting today, we have the technology and the capability of just going out and doing it yourself. Right. And that's kind of what you did. The reason why you're here is because the reason why we're here is because you decided to just do it. So if you're not getting reps at school, if you're not getting reps at whatever local places that you have, right, just go out and just do it yourself. OK, just put a camera in front of you, get a microphone, start talking, start calling games, do practice reps, start streaming, just do it, right? It's the whole Nike thing, right? I mean, you can even put the swoosh somewhere just to remind yourself to just go out and do it. But that was kind of the formation, the foundation of my career. And again, I can show some more of those. I got some funny ones in there that people like, but you just got to go out and do it sometimes. You got to create your own luck, like they said yesterday.
No, I couldn't agree with you more. There are a number of things that we can take this conversation. And obviously, we have tomorrow, which is Friday. We'll continue this conversation, obviously, on another show. but I like the idea of us going back and doing this Throwback Thursday every Thursday, right? And looking back at maybe where we were, what we were doing a number of years ago, kind of how far we have come as an organization, just in the last 3 years. Imagine what like 3 years from now will look like, and so that's something I'm looking forward to doing. And even as we talk about like us and dissecting some of the things that we do, to be fair, I don't have the time anymore to kind of go back and watch the games that I call and to give myself any kind of feedback.
We should do the Friday film room too. I think that should be a thing. I think people would really enjoy watching and listening to that.
I agree. Let's start doing it, man. Tomorrow's your show anyway, so let's give it a go. But that'll be a wrap here on this Thursday edition of Inside the Game here on the National Soccer Network. You've been watching live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Roku TV. So wherever you're watching, we do appreciate that. Remember, hit that subscribe button, like us, and share this with your friends and family. Available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. Check those out as well. And we appreciate you. Don't forget, join the nation, join Soccer Nation, where soccer lives, breathes, and thrives. You can get that merch at the nationalsoccernetwork.com. For all of us here at NSN Inside the Game, I'm Jonathan Turner alongside
Nathan Wangler.
Nathan
Wang, the Wang Man.
No
the Wang Man.
That's a wrap. So long, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow here on more of Inside the Game. Boom.